The Mega Man series is one of my favorite gaming franchises of all time. In fact, it might just top the list, like a lemon pellet atop a delicious gaming cake. I was introduced to the series as a wee lad with the X-Series games on the Super Nintendo, before getting into the OG series games with Mega Man 7, also on the Super Nintendo, and later experienced more of the games as a preteen when the Anniversary Collections came out on GameCube.
Seriously, I've loved these games with a passion for about as long as I can remember. Mega Man was my hero and role model as a kid for fighting evil and looking cool as a cute while doing it. Countless Pringle cans were employed in the service of making my very own makeshift Mega Buster. Like this one here. I may have outgrown it a little bit.
Between the OG, X, Legends, Zero, Battle Network, and Star Force series, there's an absolutely massive amount of games out there. Most of which are actually very high quality in spite of how mechanically similar the games within each sub-series are. But you may ask, how was this legendary series begotten? Well, this is it. Kind of amazing it caught on, all things considered. Poor cover art is going to be a common theme for the series for a good while, so get used to seeing loose game interpretations and evil goblin faces. In spite of this, though, the game's actually a really good time as far as I'm concerned. It definitely had some rough edges to sandpaper out, as we'll see today, but there's a great game past its jankier aspects, and the template it laid down was so strong that it continues to be used and replicated to this very day, albeit at a less frequent rate. So without further ado, let's teleport right in. First impressions of the game are, well, let's just say I'm not immediately surprised with the game having that cover art. What's the story here, even? Well, in short, the good Dr. Light creates a bunch of robots to perform various tasks like exploring the Arctic or handling construction, but the wicked Dr. Wily gets jealous of him and reprograms him to wreak havoc on the world instead. Therefore, Light repurposes one of his robots, Rock, to become fighting robot, Mega Man, and take out those rampaging bots. Incidentally, Rock has her sister robot named Roll, because rock and roll. As we jump into the game proper, we're greeted by the aforementioned bad bots to choose from. Nonlinear level selection, a pretty novel idea for back in the day, long before empty open world games were the norm anyways. For this selection, we have Fireman, Iceman, Elec-man, Gutsman, Bomba Man, and Cutman. And because I've got guts, alongside numerous digestive issues, I'd choose the rather gross-sounding Gutsman. We get teleported into his level in a magic blue oval, and then get to play peekaboo with the Metuars? Right off the bat, movement is pretty smooth, if just a little slippery, like Mega Man stepped on some butter before heading out. And the importance of lining up your lemons, shots with enemies while avoiding taking damage, is shown pretty much immediately. That's more or less the bread and butter of basic Mega Man combat. Not to mention the music is super catchy, a well-earned trademark of the series. It really does make sense that Mega Man's Japanese name is Rockman, because he sure knows how to jam. But he doesn't know how to peanut butter, does he? Now it's time to engage in some good old platforming, and well, Mega Man is made out of metal, but the sheer pull of gravity is jarring nonetheless. Alright, I got it this time, and crap! But after getting past this live strainer, you may notice there's a little score tracker at the top with little balls you collect to get points. You can safely ignore it. It's worthless here, and was thereby removed in every game since. Next, you face some dude that looks like the result of a Metuar and Hammer Bro having interspecies relations. Wait, I was moving left while I was falling. I should have landed there. Blech. Now I can't get that one up. This big guy here just smashed me before the boss. That kinda sucks. Its movement is just random enough to catch you off guard, like a fat guy sprinting to grab up the last Twinkie. Before facing the bosses in this game, there's always a hallway with obstacles beforehand. Again, this is something we won't see in the sequels, as they fortunately removed from this juicy hamburger of a series. It doesn't even make sense practically. Like, why are these bosses putting the weakliest of their grunts to guard them? But speaking of which, we've reached another iconic aspect of this series. The bosses. Gutsman himself isn't too difficult. He jumps around like he's at some rock concert, probably because his stage music is admittedly a bop, and he throws some giant boulders at you. We dispatch him without too much trouble because we've got more guts than he'll ever have. I don't even really know what this medal is. I never have. And with that, we finished our first level. For selecting the next Robot Master, I remembered that the bosses always have a rock, paper, scissors weakness chain, which I'll explain shortly. But for now, Gutsman throws rocks, and Cutman literally has a pair of scissors on his head. Rock crushes scissors. Yes, I am a genius. Not sure why they didn't call him Edward Scissorman or Clipperman. I guess Cutman just rolls off the tongue a little easier. Great music as usual, and now we get to try out the weapon we absorbed from the fallen Gutsman, the Super Arm. It's a little situational, but still good fun to thrash enemies with it, and I've always had a soft spot for how unique it is as a weapon. The graphics are a little generic looking in this game, as the colors and backgrounds have a bit of a flat, lifeless look, like an old person that's been run over. Enemy and character sprites are great though, capturing a cutesy anime style really well. There's some good positioning related challenges in the level, plus a machine that shoots onions? Oh wait, those are scissors, or cutters. It makes sense. Taking out the big eye here felt great too. Then we face Cutman himself, and because we now possess a boss weapon, we get to take advantage of the other defining series feature, the boss weakness chain. Basically, every boss has a particular weapon they're weak against, so part of the fun of each game is figuring that out. And since Rock smashes scissors, we turn Cutman into Pancake Man. Maybe I can have some of those magic pancakes from Super Metroid. Now, what would a pair of scissors be effective against? Well, you can cut electrical wires with it, like cutting the cable to your neighbors that didn't say hello when you waved to them. So let's go with Elec-man. The rolling cutter is great for taking out these little spiky crawling minions, which are in abundance in this level. Otherwise, you mostly just vertically climb upwards, using careful timing to avoid electricity, and line your shots with these rude floating eyebots. They're kinda like children, actually. Small, annoying, and in need of a good beating. There's a mandatory item here called the magnet beam that you need the super arm to reach. You can't actually progress in the final set of stages without it, so don't forget to pick it up. It's also really useful for some of the harder platforming in the game, or just being lazy and skipping past entire level sections. Gotta climb up here to reach Zapman? Or Elec-man? Okay, sounds good. Almost there, and nuts! Now that I'm here, I could try to use the Mega Buster to beat Elec-man, but he's just an absolute monster. He's as speedy as a cheating cheetah while hitting like Hercules himself. So after a while, I just decided to smash some blocks in his face, cut him open with my scissors, and leave his body for the birds. Now that we've got an electric attack, figuring out the weakness chain is pretty straightforward. I'll select Iceman since his weapon probably puts out Fireman, hence Elec-man beats Iceman. I actually like the setting here. It's like a bright robotic snowland that hints at the kind of colorful environments the series is known for nowadays.
Iceman really got that Christmas spirit down.
Now, no wonder Elec-man was killing us, because his Thunder Beam absolutely wrecks enemies with its triple-pronged Thunderbolt attack. I tried using the Rolling Cutter some too, and it's fine, but it just doesn't compare to the beastly beauty of this thunderstorm of death. We get a lovely introduction to the disappearing Yoku blocks, and I could wait for them, but I've got better things to do, honestly, so a magnet beam here, and yeah, that's nice. Now, you can try to platform through this section, but these wicked platforms can shoot you off, so I'm just cheating through most of this too. Iceman himself is a weird boss because his pattern isn't super complex, but his Ice Slasher packs a heck of a wallop, like getting hit in the face with an icicle. It's another encounter I wouldn't feel too bad about using their weakness on. Next up, let's call the Po-lice and the Fireman, and no wonder he's got that name, because his theme is pure fire. The Ice Slasher freezing enemies is neat, but you still get hurt when you hit them, so it's more situational than anything else. Fortunately, the level makes copious use of these lava thingies, which can be frozen to use as platforms. So, situation found. There's this random pit here where it feels like I should die, but I'm fine that I don't. It just looks weird. I don't actually know if you can get past these giant fireballs here, but using the magnet beam is certainly advised. Oh, and I was right about the ice beam beating Fireman, but I mostly opt to take him on in a fair fight, buster to buster. Or, Fire Blaster. I like this fight, but it is admittedly janky and just pure chaos. It almost feels more like some gonzo Mario Party minigame than a boss fight. I straight up turned invisible by the end despite winning, so yay, I guess? And last up we got Bomba Man, because fire lights a fuse. Although bombs can cause fires, so just don't read too deeply into it. First, he tries to intimidate you with the sheer size of his massive balls in the background. But when that doesn't scare you off, he appropriately sends out a bunch of explosives after you, including a knockoff Bullet Bill.
Given Nintendo's rather strict legal department, I'm honestly kind of surprised Capcom didn't get sued for that.
The rest of the stage isn't too difficult, aside from some pellet spongy Sniper Joes. Hint, use the Thunder Beam. I'll just be taking that and heading on my way, sir. Just jump down here, stick to one side, and got him. Tell you what though, Bomba Man should have been called La Bomba Man, because he's over here dancing around in between his bouts of tossing explosives like some kind of frolicking terrorist. Now that we've dispatched all of Dr. Wily's evil minions, it's time we take on the mad scientist himself. The next batch of levels are all linear and played back to back. While these levels do have a couple unique aspects to them, they mostly just remix previous level assets in more challenging ways. There's a bunch of big eyes hopping around at the start of the first level, which you can fortunately freeze in midair. That makes sense. Then there's fire to platform eyes, mad hopping shrooms that Megaman has to avoid smoking because Megaman's too cool for drugs, kids. But after some block tossing and magnet beam abusing, you face against the devil himself. The yellow devil, that is. Please use the Thunder Beam here, because this fight is a nightmare of pure pattern recognition madness. Whoa! Ooh! No! Ooh! Ooh! Or better yet, use the pause trick to dispatch his cheating booty. Mega Man 1 is weird in that it has more unfair elements than most later games, but it counterbalances that with its janky exploitability. It all works out in the end anyways. In the second Fortress level, we got some televised rematches of a couple robot masters who are still kinda salty about their first loss. But rather than facing them in a single gauntlet like in future games, they're spread about throughout the level, kind of like in Mega Man X1. To be honest, I prefer this, as I think it's better for pacing. But the encounters are quick work with their weakness weapons anyways, so it's no biggie either way. In between these, you'll face various obstacles like the floating head Gigglebots, which the Firestorm is effective against since it forms a temporary shield around you. That's followed up by a battle against your greatest enemy, yourself. It's kind of cool that it will use whatever copy ability that you're using, just don't use Thunder Beam. He will do to you what you have done to others. Whoa, that's kind of deep. The third level is really short. Just make your way through Wily's poopy robot sewers while avoiding some random penguins and bullet bills, smash these bubbly robots with some boulders, and be on your way. On to the final level. I'm pumped to go and... Anyways, I'm pumped to go defeat some baddies, pick up a Yoshichi, and go through a linear boss gauntlet. Well, at least there's only 4 to go through now. I didn't show this earlier, but the hyper bomb you get against Bomba Man is kinda garbage, TBH. It's like somebody sabotaged our bombs to make it blow up as slow as humanly possible. But then we finally face against Wily himself, and after witnessing all his reprogrammed baddies bite the dust twice over, he figured it was probably wise to whip out the big guns. Can't blame his logic there. Still, this two-phase fight isn't too difficult, especially if you've got the weakness weapons in hand. So we handily hand Wily's hiney to him, and Dr. Wily worships us, as is proper and fitting. Then we trudge our way safely back home as Megaman vows to fight for everlasting peace. Eagle-eared gamers may notice that the beginning of the ending theme is actually the same as the beginning of Mega Man 2's intro theme, which gives the games a nice sense of continuity. And there's even a twist ending here, as Mega Man reveals his true identity as none other than Elvis Presley. Seen as our given Christian name as Rockman, and the game pulls out all the stops in the music department, that actually makes a lot of sense.
We all knew this guy was secretly still alive.
All told, Mega Man 1 is a pretty good game. It's definitely not perfect. Controls can be sluggish, the iron boots stolen from Ocarina of Time can cause some unfair deaths, the graphics can be flat and somewhat charmless at times, only about half the weapons are good, the difficulty is uneven, and it can be pretty janky in general. But in spite of that considerable list of flaws, I just always come out of the experience having a good time. The music is incredible, the base platforming and shooting gameplay are great, the levels are varied and lengthy without being over long, the character and enemy sprites are charming, and the majority of the bosses are good fun. Plus, the more exploitable janky elements help iron out the difficulty by breaking the game in fun ways. More than that though, the game laid out a fantastic template with its non-linear level selection, unique weapons, boss weakness chain, and rockin' tunes that has endured to this very day. The freshly announced Mega Man Dual Override is proof of that, and I'm pretty excited for it. But even though I don't consider the first entry to be one of the better games in the original series, it's still a really good game, and just goes to show the impressively consistent level of quality that the series has. And soon we'll get to dig into the multitude of sequels that refined and expanded upon this strong formula to create even better experiences, which I'm really looking forward to. But until then, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.